Hello guys, 12th of December, Sunday. I just uploaded a video last night. I'm able to upload videos a bit better now because I went with Optus instead of Vodafone. They're a little bit better here somehow. So yeah, I uploaded a video last night, and I had to spend about 7 hours in hospital. My son, he's got a bit of a lung infection, so I had time to get on Google and do a bit of researching. So this Falcon coupe, I've still got the original Cleveland 302 matching engine numbers, hasn't been rebought or anything, so I got that engine, put that under the bench. I won't use that motor at all, leave the heads, everything with it. And I've got a new motor, as I told you before, that I'm going to use for this car. So basically going to go 351 2V heads, and I've got I think the C6 or the C10, basically a C4 transmission for it. And I've got the original 302 or 6-cylinder tail shaft. It's reasonably small. The body of it's actually a bit smaller. So I picked up a 351 tail shaft the other day. It looks like it uses the same universal joints, but the body of it's a bit fatter. I don't know how strong it is, but I've got the original Borg Warner. I think they call it the M75. It's the very early generation of Borg Warners, and they're not known to be very strong. So what I've just pulled it up. My mate was over here before, so he helped me put it up on here. So so it's running the original drum brakes, which I was going to upgrade the disc, but I'm starting to think, you know, who cares? Just I'll buy new shoes, new body there. So yeah, it's 292 to 1 ratio, which isn't ideal for drag racing, but this car's gonna be a good cruiser. It's got the old style coupling on it. I know the Escort, it's got the same M75 diff, have an XC panel van, and it's pretty much identical to this diff, except it's been cut down. I've got billet axles in it, 28 spline, but I've got the later EF Falcon style coupling on it, and apparently they're stronger again. But from what I've heard, the weak links of these diffs, people are saying it's only got 25 spline, which was common on the Skylines, Cortinas, and early Falcons. And this is 2-pinion, where the stronger ones are 4-pinion, but that doesn't matter. I'll explain to you what I'm going to do. But what I'll do now, I'm pretty sure when I pulled these axles out before, they were 28 spline, but I'm going to look at it now. If these are 28 spline, this diff has the potential to handle the sort of power I'm going to throw at it, I reckon. So, oh dearie me, I've done the tooth count and it's only a 25 spline. What fooled me is that it's got a larger body on it. It goes up and it sort of narrows up at the top. I once seen a bloke drag racing. He had a 408 Cleveland C6 or whatever behind it, auto, and he had the original XC diff in it, and he actually sheared. He broke an axle. As soon as he done it, I knew the dude. As soon as he done it, I walked up to him and said, "Mate, I bet you're running 25 spline, man." Yeah, drag radials on it too, and it was hooking up really good. Like the front of the car was propping up at a 408, the massive amount of torque, very powerful motor. So yeah, he would have snapped an axle for sure. But I don't reckon, in my opinion, I don't reckon I don't think this axle will give me any dramas, in my opinion, because I was running 25 splines in the Escort. One of them is original from Pintara, because it's shorter wheelbase, so they're able to use one side's Pintara, and the other side they actually cut it down and resplined it. And where they resplined it, it actually started to twist. It was actually starting to twist, but at the time the Escort had 234 rear wheel horsepower, 300 newton meters of torque, and it had a mini spool, so that locked up the axle. So it was like, yeah, and it was hooking up. I was dumping it at 5,000 RPM, doing the best launches. And when I got home, I thought I better just pull this diff down, just make sure it's all good there. I noticed the axles were twisted, so the axle was twisted, not the other side was fine. So where they resplined, it must have weakened it. So I just got because it was 25 spline, I was limited to what I could do with the carrier inside. So I went to 28 spline and went through McDonald's Brothers Racing Victoria, and I got some axles made up to suit the application. But so if I was to keep this diff in the car, I'd have to, I reckon I'd go probably an EA, ED or ED. I could just get a diff out of one, and then it'd be so much easier. Complete diff. But then, end of the day, I'm still having to pull this out to change carriers. If I can't find an LSD center, then yeah, I'd have to pull it down anyway. A 292 to 1, which isn't really ideal for like performance, but I want to build this car so it's a cruiser, so I'll get out and just drive it and don't have to worry about it revving its bean off doing 100. So yeah, I'm just exploring my option at this point, but it'd be so much easier just to go to the wrecking yard and then find like an XH ute, and they run LSD center, 28 spline axles. Yeah, pretty much put it straight in. Slightly wider wheelbase, but I could just use it. I think the hole's a little bit smaller than the later ones from what I've read, but yeah, so I've certainly got some options there. See, I wouldn't want to go out and buy a 25 spline carrier in LSD and then run the risk of breaking these axles, because if I want to chase more power down the track, it's not something you want to go back on. Yeah, but these diffs, these Bodywork diffs are so underrated. Once you change the carrier on them and you got a 28 spline, they're pretty damn strong. I watched a dude, he had a VP Commodore LS1 turbo, and it was like 600 horsepower at the wheels. It had a factory diff in it, just got a full spool, not a mini spool, a full spool, where it locks in this crown gear, just locks it all into one. So yeah, he's doing like bullshit fast speeds, like doing flat sixes on the 1/8 for Bodywork diff, no dramas. Still a good diff. He's pulled 10s at Sydney Dragway, so they're pretty strong. I know me mate, he's gone full spool, 31 spline axles, but I think the weak link, I think they break in here. And if I do the Escort now, I don't just, like, being an auto, I can't just drop the clutch like you would in a manual. But you try to load the drivetrain up first before doing a launch. So if you just drop the clutch and it's got all that slop, it's just, yeah, you're gonna break shit. So what I'll do now, deliver the left end together too. So all I have to do is replace the shoes, the cylinder, and then just put this back to how it was, give it a good clean up. I actually know, I was thinking about it before, I know where there's two XF utes. Bloody hell, I got heaps of, had a P50 on Mustang flew over here yesterday. Beautiful sound, you can hear them all the way, you know what they sound like. But yeah, back to the story. I know where there's two XF Falcons. There's one up the paddock, up the road, complete car. And I noticed right at the back here at these country roads, there's like a ute sitting in a paddock XF. It looks like it's got the wheels off it, but it's been sitting there for years. So there's plenty out there. Looking over this panel, had made over here before. He's got an SLR 5000, and he went through the same process as me restoring it, except he paid people because he hasn't got much time. Big truck driver, big family, and that's so. So see, looking over this, it's just absolutely beautiful. Like the shape is just really good now. There's not much to do on this now, I reckon. Yeah, I'll just have to, where it's got a nice sharp edge there, I'll have to make the same as this. Don't worry about that later. I was talking to Johnny this morning, I thought, why not just, rather than doing any part of the car, why not just move on to the door? Because this polyester primer doesn't stay glossy all too long. Probably in a 3 weeks time or even less, it'll start fading, sort of being like this. So it loses its gloss, and you want that gloss when you're trying to look at the shapes and body lines and stuff. So I was thinking I might just move on to this door now. It's pretty warm here at the moment, so that's gone off. I could sand that now if I wanted to, but I think I'll start on this door shortly. Getting into it again. Been spending a bit of time with the son. He's bounced back really good from his chest infection. They gave him all this medication from the hospital, and yeah, he's really coming on good. So I've got this great little spline. I've just given it a go over. It's got 220 on it still. It's a bit worn, but as you can see here, You see it's exposing all the lows, so you see them everywhere. So I'll get up to about here. It's a bit harder doing there. The spline keeps hitting in the, so I might have to go over top of it, but I might just use the smaller Dura block for that, and the soft blocks, they'll be good for in here, I reckon. It's got a bit of a shape to it, so I might set up the GoPro and we go from there. Before I go any further, I found a bit of a low. I know if I keep going, it's going to come through, so what I'll do, I'll just mark it like so. And I'll just give it a sandpaper and just scuff it up. Coarse stuff get in there, and I'll just blow it down. Clean it with some Mefo and then put some freehand filler in it. Fill that in, now I can get back to it, back to blocking with the spline. Next time you see somebody slam your door on your old X series Falcon, this is what happens. The other side was far worse, but there's little spots in there. So I'll put some filler in them, won't need much. I'll probably just leave that one. It's metal starting to come through there, so yeah, definitely need another coat of polyprimer, but it's coming up really good. This door wasn't too bad. Under here's shocking, like, you know, where I'd put a new rare spares section across the bottom. But yeah, it's coming along, mate. So do that now and keep blocking. So I've had to pull up. The spline's doing its thing. It's bringing out high there, low around there. It's doing its thing. What I'm finding, but I don't know if you can pick up on it, but there's like a darker color across here where this it's like a high across there and a low across here, and I can just feel it. So that is underneath. Well, this whole bottom section's a rare spares replacement part. You see metal starting to come through there. So there, I think there's pretty good, but across here you could just see where there's a join, it's a little bit proud and it's starting to show. So what I'll do, rather than risk going any further, because I know this spline, it's sort of, because it's such a big area, it's easy for it to go over top of areas like this. Like it can sort of ride over top of that. So what I'll do, I'll have a look and I'll find a spline that's a bit more firm. So I've stepped up to a number 4. So the last one I was using was the number 3. That's about 2mm thick. This one's about 3mm, so it's a bit thicker. And I put 120 on it so I can really rip into it. But I'm expecting there might be crap to come through here. It might just come through to metal and then have a high there, low there. That's the way it is. So that might be where this little bit of waviness stuff's going on. Bit of a low there maybe. All good. Just means that I could either have the option of putting more filler over it, as in freehand filler, or I can just put polyester primer, just put some more coats on it. But it's only minimal. Just looking over this door, and I done the top here, blocked that, blocked this. the body lines do too bad. You can see, like, you know, where it's a little bit, like you can see shiny parts where it's not 100% even, but I'm not overly concerned about that. That's easy. I finished, I was blocking there and I pulled up and I started doing down here. And it got to the point where I blocked here, and then I looked at the body line. It's pretty close, but it's not perfect. I'm probably being a bit being a bit critical on body lines. Like, I know this top one's, it's pretty good, but this bottom one here, I know I got the Escort pretty good because the Escort's sort of more boxy, sort of like a Volvo. But yeah, I'm doing this and I'm thinking, yeah, I could work with that. I can make it work. Righto. So then I decided, right, let's go the other side. Because remember the other side, I had a few drums, that door. The door comes off a panel van, off an XC. I got it for like a Facebook Marketplace for like $80 or something. I don't remember now, but it was dirt cheap. Couldn't believe I found it, that price. But I didn't think anybody wanted to go to Windale and Newcastle. It's like capital of the housos. I know, because I used to be a copper there. But so what I've done, I got this spline, nice big long one. I put it straight across from here to there. I do know that it does bow a bit in here, but I think it's more, it's not so much here. I think it's more so up here. So I put the spline across here, and I could notice there's a bit of a low spot going around here. It's about 2 millimeters from about here up to about here, and I thought, yeah, that's not right. So then I thought, right, let's get on the internet. So it's probably 3 or 4 months ago now. Something come up in newsfeed, one of the groups, about these 2-door or the coupe panel van or ute doors, like skins. And they started off like $500 each, and I thought, shit, that's not too bad when considering you pay like $100 for the lower sections from Rare Spares, plus the Rare Spares ones you have to actually weld it on. And anyone knows when it comes to welding sections together, they can warp and distort, do all sorts of stupid shit. And that's what I've done on this, but I could work around it. But I looked at those skins and I thought $500 each. I thought, yeah, I probably would have snapped them up when I was doing this up. But you also got to consider, when you put the door skins on, the foundations have got to be good. So if you try to shape that skin to fit the door and the foundations are good, it's going to look like shit. So I thought about that, and then I thought about this door and how bad it is. For one, I'd just buy another skin for it. But then there's a bit of a blow up on Facebook when they started off, I mean, I'm not 100% certain, around $500 each, and then they jumped up to $1,000. So I jumped on eBay then, it's like around $1,000 each. So I thought, wow, that's a lot of money. I mean, I could totally understand and justify how they're doing it. It's a lot of work. Like, yeah, I get it. It's like they realise how many people may have wanted them, so they bumped the price up, as everyone does with anything. So what I've done, I thought, right, let's have a look. So I've got the drill bit, and I just drilled some holes here, just down to the metal, and I measured it. So there's 1.3, I'll start from here, 1.4 mil, 1.3, 1 mil, 0.8, 1, 0.5. So I thought, it hasn't got much filler in it. So then I got the straight edge spline, put it from this point up to here. And so this area here, roughly around the middle, gets maximum about 2 millimeters. So here's going to be 3 millimeters. So I'm probably being a bit critical, but so roughly 3 millimeters of filler. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's probably nothing. I mean, there's a lot of people go up to 5 or over 5 now. A lot of people try to be sort of subtle about it and don't tell anyone what they've done, but I'm just open with this car. It's the way it is. I've got nothing to hide. So yeah, so what I'm gonna have to do, I'll look at this line and clearly see it's a high there and it goes low, and I was wondering why it just didn't look right. So it needs filler. It needs filler across here, just this area here. That there's pretty good. It's just here, so I know where I'm at now. I know what I have to do, so it's not something to worry about. I'm going to Summernats in a few weeks, so I'll get to look at more coupes there. Be nice to look at the X-Boss, but no, it's sold now, so I don't know if I'll see it there. But so this body line, it's pretty good. It's not 100%, but it needs more work. So what I've done, I put more primer. I got this acrylic stuff. Put that crap on it. It's good for being able to tell what it's doing. Like, you get it like a better idea when it's all in one colour. That's what I'll do now. I'll just get this, pump it up a bit, give it a hit. I'll turn this light off up there because it was interfering with the GoPro. The last video I picked up on it when I was just going over the editing, so I don't know well you can see it, but it's pretty close. There's a little bit of a high spot there, but you can see where it hasn't been sanded down enough. But it's pretty good. This door is not too bad. It's original door too. So yeah, I've got to wrap it up for the day. Got my son inside. It's starting to get on a bit, go cooking crap. So yeah, I'll get on to my next day off. Hey guys, I'm just going to my local wrecking yard, and surprisingly, well, not really surprisingly, but a lot of the parts now, these old cars, not really available anymore. So I'm looking for a Bodywork diff, or the axles out of an EA to an EL. I know they're the right width for the XB. Trouble is, no young fellas, they get out there in their Commodores and that, Falcons, and they dump skids and snap axles and shit, and they come here and they might buy one axle, or sometimes the wrecking yard don't want to sell a whole diff assembly. So I found an EL Falcon, EL or EF. It's just a Falcon, it's not a fan mod, so it's not going to have LSD center, but I might hit him up for the axles. But just looking around here, and most of the cars are stripped. But I was actually going to take us to this place up Waddingham Mountains, up behind Cessnock. There's this big cliff face, like a bush track, and it comes this cliff face, and people used to push stolen cars and insurance jobs or whatever. They push them off this cliff, and it dropped 100 meters down to this, like down to this bottom. There's like heaps of cars down there. It was a popular in the 90s, probably 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, and then the council put a big steel cable across the top of it. I might put up some photos, but I know there's a Bodywork diff up there, but the parts have been sitting there for that long, and it's an hour. It takes an hour just to get to it, and then you got to get the parts up the cliff. So I was hoping to go up there and find LSD center, but I'm just not going to worry about it. It's a waste of time. Hey guys, back home now. Those photos I just put up, they were taken back in 2016 when I used to drive a Ford Escape. There's a pretty memorable moment, because that's when I resigned from the police force and I had a lot of time on my hands. And I remember going there back in early 2000s, and so I thought I'd go up there for a look. Most of the parts are all rusty and up the shit, but when they used to push the cars over the cliff face, they dropped down, they wouldn't just hit the bottom and stop. A lot of them would actually keep like rolling down the mountain. So in one of those photos, you'll see a car that's pretty badly twisted up. It's a VL Commodore, but a bushfire's taken it out. But it's still got the axle, the diff in it, but I know the diff in those things are only 25 spine. Bodywork axles, they're pretty shit. So, but yeah, there's you see an XC Falcon guard on it, amongst the rubbish. There's not much stuff that's salvageable. A bushfire's gone through there, and it's most of it, everything's rusty. But I remember when I first went there back in, been 2002. A lot of the parts were completely usable, but over the years people have just gone there and just taken stuff. So yeah. So what I'll do, I'll end up going to that wrecking yard. He said he's gonna sell me 2 EL Falcon, I think it was an EL Falcon axles for 80 bucks each. But I'll have to get them out myself. He's not gonna do the work. Obviously it's a shit job, but yeah, I'll get them soon. So all I have to do with the diff is just get a LSD center off the internet. I think they're about $690. Then I'll just run the drum brakes. I'll just buy a new kit, like I was saying before. And that's it. Just run a Bodywork rear end. I'll get it sitting pretty low. I don't know what wheels I'm going to run yet. This car did come with option 52 sports road wheels, but they're a bit narrow. Everyone knows what they're like, but they do look really nice. I was even thinking about going through Barrel Brothers in Sydney and actually getting the wheels widened heaps dramatically, because I think there's about 35 centimeters gap in here, so you can fit massive wheels in there. But you can just get on the internet and I know the dude that sold me this car, he sells a lot of wheels, makes to fit these cars good. So yeah, so bought one a rear end, 351 tail shaft through to the C6 or C10, whatever they call it. So I'm just gathering up the parts now, and surprisingly most of the parts I need now are for the interior. So looking in here, yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Can't wait. I'm really looking forward to having the wiring laid out on the table and going through and getting everything, because I've got the full loom for this car, so I'll pull it all apart, make sure everything works. I'm not sure what to do about the engine. If you want to know what I'm going to be sharing in time, I'm seriously considering running Sniper air fire, and I'll take us through exactly how to do it, because I've wired in a Haltech ECU, in the Escort, and I've basically done everything myself. Spoke to Haltech and I found them really good. So yeah, I bought a Haltech Elite 1500, and then I just got a universal loom and just wired everything up, calibrated all the sensors. So yeah, I'd really love to run a Haltech, probably a Haltech Elite 2000. The 2500 they use in the Barrows, that supports drive-by-wire, throttle body stuff. So Elite 2000 will basically support this motor. Yeah, it'd be perfect for Cleveland. Then I could just set up get an injector manifold, a throttle body, set up some sort of throttle body system, set up a carburetor. But then look at the Holley Sniper, it's so easy. There's a kit for about 1,900. It's really good, and the car would be so much easier to start. It'd be more economical. It's total game changer going from carburetor to fuel injection. But just to go carburetor, it's so easy. Just get a block manifold and just get a double pump of Holley 750 or something. That'd be easy. It's definitely a quicker option. But I was talking to my mate, he's got a SLR 5000, and I told him, I said, I wouldn't mind going Rocky Nats in 2023. That'd be alright. Take this thing up. So what I'll do now, I'll just had my brother over here, and he's got an XC wagon he's restoring. He's got XC wagon he's restoring. He's got a Cleveland in it, and yeah, he's looking over this, and he reckons I've been too critical of the body lines. He said this side's pretty good, bit of a high spot there, so I'll have a look at that. Well, I'll sand off this high spot now, and if I've got a bit of daylight left, I'll give it a coat of the polyprimer, I reckon, to see how it comes out. But I'm thinking, rather than just going, I know I said before I was going to go from the rear quarter over to the other side, I think it's smart, because this stuff doesn't stay glossy, it fades. So if I do the quarter already, do the door, and then move on to this guard, that'll give me one side that's done, or 95% done, and then I can just move on to the other side then. Just gave it a hit of 80, and yeah, the line's pretty damn good now. It's all it took, just a little bit of correction. Yeah, and that's heaps better. The reason I brought up that AFI stuff is because last night, Wednesday night, one of my mates from work's got a really powerful, high-powered Evo, and he loves going to the Sydney Motorsport Park to roll racing. And yeah, it's freaking amazing going there. I know a lot of it's Japanese and cars from Asia and stuff, but there's quite a few Barrows, and it's pretty good seeing this top-end Evo get chopped, totally destroyed by an SLR 5000 with these massive tyres in the back. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I love the idea of having a Cleveland air fire and having a big turbo hanging off the side of it. You can get so much power, like these Clevelands, like 10 pounds of boost, and they'll be up around 600 horsepower at the wheels, but where does it end? I've already got a G6E turbo, it goes pretty good, factory, and then I got the Escort. So I was thinking the Clevo would just, this car would just make into like just a really nice sounding cami Cleveland. I think, yeah, that's the direction I like to go. But every now and then I get these wild ideas, because it's, once you learn how to wiring ECUs and you make your own turbo manifolds and all that sort of stuff, it's not hard to do. It's like, you know how to do it, you know the potential. A lot of people, they can't do that sort of thing because they haven't done it before. So that's why every now and then I'll get these yeah, these extreme ideas. But so what I'll do now, I'll block this down, get it all coarse, and I'll have to sand down that bit of cream filler I got there, have these done, and then we'll I'll give it a coat of poly and go from there. Just sanded up around here, come out pretty good. So what I'll do now, I'll just scuff up all the shiny areas in here, along there, get it ready, and then I'll give it a coat of epoxy, see how it comes out. Well, poly primer. I think it's got epoxy in it, but you treat it like epoxy, you can put it over bare metal, so that's why I keep calling it that. It's giving it a fresh coat of poly, and yeah, it's come out really nice. So yeah, just looking over this body line, and I can vaguely tell that it's not right, but I reckon if I had a look at the Escort, which I had the same thing, same sort of issues I worked through, it wasn't perfect. But I think, as you see over here, it's got like a sharp sort of edge on it. When I actually start blending that in to be like this, it's probably going to be less obvious. One of the fellas, Dwayne Jones, off me, he's on my Facebook now. I met him through YouTube. He's got a coupe like this. He's only like 10 kilometers away, so I'm going to go have a look at his, and he was telling me he had the same issues, body lines and stuff, but I'll go check out his car. But yeah, whilst waiting for these coats to go through, because you put down a coat every 10 minutes, so put a coat down, chill out, get the music cranking, and just go. I was going over my videos from last night, and there was this XW Falcon Ute, had number plates, 2 letters, which I don't remember, but it had 427, so I'm gathering that's probably maybe a Clevo, I don't know, but it didn't sound like it was, I can't tell if it was on NOS, but definitely wasn't boosted. And yeah, it was really giving the all the Euro cars and stuff a good scare, and it sounded absolutely amazing. So as I was dwelling over before about me getting extreme ideas, the original plan for some time was to get the Cleveland. See this block I got here, this American block. I was watching, don't know if you guys watch, but on YouTube there's a guy, I think they're called Cleveland Kings. These 2 brothers in Queensland, and they often do reviews on cars they've tuned, and they had this one on the blocks, and I thought, I've got the American block, it's got 4-bolt mains, it's got extra webbing, apparently that block's pretty damn good. Don't know if it's as good as the D block, probably not, or the black block, but I was thinking at one stage, why not just go with the 302 crank in that block, get forged rods and pistons, same as I've done with the Escort, and just do like a mild turbo setup. That way I can run the Holtec 2000 ECU. Do the same with the Escort, just run LS1 coil, so each cylinder's got its own coil. And yeah, the best part about V8s, you don't need much boost. They just respond, so because they're such a big motor, they're on song and just going hard. But then the issue you have, once you get behind the motor, you've got the C4 transmission, and I'd have to do a bit of work to that, because yeah, it's not like the Escort to be driving a heavier car, which is at least 400 kilos heavier. So you have to spend a bit of money on the transmission, get it suited. I'd get it manualized, but then yeah, when it comes to the diff, the weak link when it comes to the Borg Warner, obviously the axles. So this had 25 spline axles, so you put 28 spline axles in it. You change the hemisphere center, so you get a Dana LSD, that's strong. So you got that part sorted, but then you have to consider that flange there, where it goes to the tail shaft. How strong is that? I don't know, but what I've done with the Escort, or what they done for me, Craft Differentials in Sydney, they got a flange off like a later Falcon EL, EF, I don't know what it was, but they put a flange off that, and then I went to Gibson's tail shafts in Newcastle, and you just give them the lengths and dimensions, and they make your tail shaft, and they put massive unis on it. It's really strong. So if I was to consider getting bigger horsepower, I wouldn't call it big horsepower for V8, but if I was to get anything up around 500 plus, I'd seriously consider getting, you know, like a proper get a C4 built, get a proper tail shaft built, change the flange on the diff, and I reckon it'll be pretty good then. I was actually looking at an AU Falcon today, and it had these. So you got the diff here. It's got these upper control arms that come off the chassis and sort of stop the diff rocking, because that's a problem I have with the Escort. When I first recently got it going, I took it for a run down the road, and the whole diff twisted. Tail shaft went up, hit the floor, ripped the handbrake cable off the floor. It's pretty dramatic. So what I've done, I got onto a site in the UK, and I bought these upper control arms, or factory on RS2000 in the UK. It's like in the UK, in the Escorts over there, they put twin cam motors in them. They just went ape shit with modifications, making them really good. But in Australia, they're just povo. They just basically put 1.6 or 1.3, 1.6 Kent motors, and then they put the Pinto single overhead cam engines in them, which are okay. They do the job, but they didn't put all the proper suspension components, and they just opted out. So there's quite a few variations between the Australian Escort and the UK versions. But so yeah, so this door is done. So next opportunity I get, which will be after the weekend, I'll start on that guard and concentrate and get this body one. But it's pretty damn close now. It's not too bad. It's got that nice section that goes in, so it sort of bows out like it's meant to with the coupes. So yeah, I'll wrap it up for this video, guys, and I've got a bit of time off work coming up, so I'll concentrate on doing more GoPro videos, and yeah, giving you something to look at and see how I go about doing bodywork. But yeah, obviously everyone's got different ways of doing it, but I'm trying to use the highest quality products in this car, where the Escort was a little bit different. I use products at the panel shops, or this place in Newcastle called Autolac. They supply all the products to panel beating shops, so I took their advice for the Escort. But then I've gone to Melmotive in Gosford, and I'm going through what they recommend, and they do more of the hot rods and street machine cars and stuff. So I'm taking a different road this time. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's paying off. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll have another video up soon.